Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so this is gonna be the second video in why do you play MCOC series. In the first video there was me talking about my personal experience with alliances, in my opinion, how to make sure your alliance is right for you, and well, what to do if you don't feel it quite fits your needs, and as well talking about recruiting for alliances if you happen to be in leadership roles. In today's video, it's going to be a similar idea. I'm going to share mainly my experience because speaking about time management, just like about many other different personal things outside of the actual game itself, it entirely depends on your own personal goals, your own personal lifestyle, availability, and many different aspects. So, it's impossible for one person, albeit be that me or be that, I don't know, Kabam Mike or Kabam Jimmy or whoever else, to tell you how you should play this game. Because the truth of the matter is, this game has evolved. When I started playing this game, there were no alliances. There were no alliance wars, alliance quests. There were no solo events. There were hardly any arenas. I believe there was like one arena or maybe two. Don't think tier 4 basic, tier 1 alpha, tier 2 alpha arenas were a thing either. And there was not all that much to do. There was the story content you could make your way through, and there were the arenas that you could kind of grind. That was it. No variants, no side events, no monthly events, nothing. You could effectively do everything in the game as much as you could, plus grind some. That's it. That was quite simple. But now, because there are so many different components being added on top and top and top, I don't think it's quite real to expect, even if you don't have any other commitments in life. I don't think it's realistic for one player to kind of like at any given time be able to be on top of everything. Doesn't like have all of the permanent content done, all of the monthly content done, grinding for a featured 5 stars, smashing out incursions and all that stuff. Now, the game has a lot of different ways how you can use your time and energy. And the whole point, obviously, is time is a very, very precious and very limited resource. In fact, in today's economy, our time is the product. Facebook sells our time and attention. Many games, many products capitalize on being able to attract our time and attention. So that is very valuable thing. Much more so now than ever. In the grand scheme of things, it's the most valuable thing that we have. So using it wisely, if we choose to spend it playing a mobile video game, hashtag life choices, is very important. Because a lot of you who are watching this video have families, have school, have jobs, have other commitments, and whatever's left over, people often like to use up for their own enjoyment. Some people like to binge series, some people like to play this game, other games, some people like to do sports or whatever. But again, there is no right recipe what to do. I can go over my routine, what I do typically, and what changed, let's say, relatively recently with the global pandemic, and how I changed my personal time commitments to the game. And so, first things first, typically I'm not a arena grinder. Actually, at the very start I was, but it was largely because there was not much else to do. And letting go of all the rewards that you can earn in arena was actually quite hard. I did it quite unwillingly, but at some point I realized that I was grinding arena more than I liked. It was causing, I don't know, stress in between me and my girlfriend, and it was just more hassle than it was worth. You didn't want to let go of all of those shards and units and everything else that you could earn. But ultimately, for me personally, and again, I know that this is not going to be a choice that many of you can make, but I still ended up playing the game high level. I just stopped grinding altogether. There's probably a period of years in between, years in between, where I didn't do like a single arena or maybe one tier 4 basic arena, like period of half a year. And the way to offset is obviously you do notice primarily the a lack of units. And I knew that going in, and I ended up just kind of like flat out putting aside 30, 50 pounds a month to buy those units, to be able to buy energy refills, buy potions, or whatever else I would happen to need at any given time in the game. So I kind of took my time back from the game by paying for it, by kind of associating a monthly cost to the game, that I knew that regardless of any offers that I may or may not buy, regardless of any crystals that I may or may not buy, I put aside 30 to 50 pounds a month, where I bought either 850 or 1450 units. And that's how I got through for really, really long time, and up until actually quite recently. Because if you have been following the channel, you'd know that I'm really not the biggest rune grinder, but that has changed in recent weeks, months, and that is to do with the fact that I'm on furlough. And then again, having all this extra amount of time available for me, logically it made the most sense to at least make it as productive as I could. And I spent 2 hours a day in arena, which let me get majority of the milestones across like 3 arenas or so, and I'm especially happy with that. So 2 hours a day did that for me. But overall, that is a different daily schedule than I was used to. Because normally, obviously, even though I'm doing YouTube and I enjoy doing YouTube, that is a side thing. I do have a regular Monday to Friday job, as many of you do as well. It's relatively similar to many people's school schedule. So that is the main thing that we're going to focus on now, and how I try to make myself as effective as I can, being in a high tier alliance, and how I got the job done. But keep in mind, part of that still relies on me spending about 30, 50 pounds a month on units for my kind of basic costs, because change masteries ever so often, I buy energy refills, do the streams where I do a bunch of exploration and bigger chunks. So let's start from the morning, shall we? I know it has been 7 minutes already in the video, and if you have made it this far, you have been a trooper. But let's start with my typical working day morning. And basically, the time I wake up, one critical, obviously I check out all my messages, line messages, see where I'm tagged. Sometimes that drags for a bit, sometimes I can't check them all in the same go. But one first critical piece of advice is, obviously pretty much every single one of us can and should and does check Alliance quest as soon as you wake up, because you never want to leave your teammates waiting. The biggest piece of advice is, don't do it straight after you wake up. Give yourself about half an hour. I cannot tell you how many times in the morning I have woken up, kind of like did my, I don't know, and did facilities, and kind of I'm starting to get ready for work, and I jump in a queue thinking I'm gonna knock out a couple of fights quickly, and I die. And I die on silly fights, and I get caught on a dashback by Gwenpool or Angela or something silly like that. Because whilst you're still barely awake, you're also barely playing, basically, and you're much more likely to get hit. So when it comes to do my AQ fights, I definitely moved that part to a point where I was already arriving at work, and I did just before I started work. So, because that is more, let's say, risky, because it would be more costly to heal in Lion's Quest. You want to make sure you're quite alright doing so. So I stopped doing the Lion's Quest as soon as I woke up. It's still one of the first things, but I do that about half an hour after I've woken up. One of the most important things in the mornings is the quest energy. And it again depends how much time you have in the morning. Even for me, it depends exactly what time I swivel out of the bed and whether I do have 5 or 10 minutes before I head to work to burn it. If I don't, then I have found a relatively simple solution that works for me, and I just dump my energy in these auto questing things. Every morning, if I don't have time to play the game for 10-15 minutes after I have woken up before I start work, I dump my energy, so at least something has come out of it. Ideally, though, what you do with your morning energy, or before school or before work kind of energy, is you go to the monthly quest. You go to the monthly quest. I do hope it's still recording because my monitors just went out. I think I bumped into something just now. Right. So you go into this monthly quest. And as you can see, I have started completing the heroic and the normal and the master and the whatever quest. No, well, the first two anyways. Because this was also part of way for me to gain units relatively simply every month, because you get about what? Let's just quickly take a look. First quest, you get 15. So yeah, 15, and then another bunch, another 25, and another, what, 35, something. Anyways, you get some units. You get like 150 or 200 units a month, basically doing the lower difficulties. And that is something, it kind of adds up. It kind of counts, especially combined with the daily events where you often have like hero use or something, and you can just autoplay through it if you're still doing, I don't know, making your breakfast or having your breakfast and reading news. Just auto fight through the easiest difficulties in mornings. That is one of the bigger kind of like useful rituals that I have and that I can pass as an advice. Then I typically get to work and I do my AQ. I don't like to do my AW even at that point, because at AW you want to be at like peak of your game, and I typically like to do that later in the midday or like at one of my break times when I have definitely properly woken up, started my day, and I'm at full possession of my mental facilities, let's say so. And that is it. At daytime, I am fortunate enough to be able to check my mobile phone and, if need be, move in Alliance Quest and spend 5 minutes on my phone. I know that's not the case for everybody, but then if you can't do it throughout the working times, you definitely have to keep in mind when you take your break times. And playing this game, again, is a very big time commitment, definitely. In fact, it's also a reason why whenever so many people ask me, do I play any other games? My typical answer is no, because if I played any other games, I wouldn't be playing this one, right? Because this one definitely eats up as much time as you let it. Anyways, that's more or less kind of like your day on. Typically for me, living in UK, we finish Alliance Quest there about before I finish work. Finish work at 6 p.m. Alliance Quest finishes at 8 p.m. and the new one starts at 8. So before I have finished work, we have finished Alliance Quest, Alliance War, and that often happens when I'm actually at work. And again, that situation can be quite tricky for many people if you're working in a place where you can't check your phone or bring your phone in with you. Then evenings though, and your evening rituals again will be different based on whether you have kids, whether you have family, how much time you have. But this is going to be my solemn piece of advice. If you do have full-time employment and you only have that much amount of time spent on this game in the evenings, don't do arena then. At least vast majority of the evenings, leave it away. Because some people like grinding arena whilst watching Netflix or something like that. But it creates maybe not necessarily this burnout feeling, but it definitely, for me at least personally, again, and everything that I say in this video is definitely my personal experience. Again, this game is many different things to many different people, and many people enjoy different aspects of it. I'm not the biggest arena fan. And my biggest advice is, don't play arena in evenings if you are working. If you maybe have some other hobbies. If you have family you should be with. Because that is more important. And arena is really not that important. As I said, I could pretty much for years offset vast majority of what I would gain in arena by spending 30-50 pounds a month buying units. I know again that's not an option for everybody, but if it is for you, 2 hours with your girlfriend or with your kids every evening is worth than 30 pounds a month. and you just kind of like budgeting it a bit more carefully. So that's definitely my advice. Don't play the arena evenings. You obviously are perfectly free to do whatever you want, but that will be one of the bigger takeaways. Because if you do feel like you're pushed to play this game every single evening for prolonged periods of time, you're gonna start to dislike it. You're gonna start to feel burnt out, and there's no need for it. If you want to grind arena, you can obviously do it, but you probably would be better off to doing it harder once in 2 weeks. Grind for a featured, or go ham on a Saturday and Sunday, or whatever, or Friday night and Saturday, but don't do it every single evening. It's important to have time away from the game. Right. Other than that, obviously, I do spend quite a lot of time on YouTube. Therefore, I do like streaming quite pointless things. I do like stretching out content for myself, for my personal enjoyment. And if you are a busy person, you definitely don't want to do that. You want to just bring in your strongest champions and blitz through many things as quickly as you can on weekdays. On weekends, though, it could be a completely different case. On weekends, you have the time, you have the ability to hopefully find the time and tackle bigger, harder piece of content. That should be the time when you decide, today I'm going to do variant 5 on this Saturday, or today I'm going to put that much amount of points in arena, or today I'm going to try and do abyss. That to me is pretty much always weekend thing for most part, or at least should be. And that's, well, that is my advice. Make it a weekend thing. Do vast bulk of your significant content, your hard content, on weekends. Because believe it or not, you're also probably playing better on a weekend. Because there is also a very direct link to your physical condition and your mental state to how well you are able to play this game. You have spent an entire day at work, woken up early, then dealt with whatever you have to deal at home afterwards, and then you're trying to, I don't know, do abyss. The results aren't going to be too great. If you have woken up a bit later on Saturday, and a pleasant morning, Saturday midday, you can sit down, fully rested, have some time. It's going to go much, much better than it would be on a weekday. So that is another kind of like piece of advice. Always try to make sure you are physically rested and mentally rested before you do any trickier piece of content. There is no need to make this game harder for yourself than Kabam has made it for you. But I think that kind of pretty much covers it. I hope this video has helped. And again, most of you have different schedules. Most of you have different daily routines. And I'm not trying to say that what I do or what I think is more right than what you feel or what you have been doing. But the biggest piece of advice, to conclude it all, would be, do not do AQ straight after waking up. Give yourself half an hour after you have woken up, maybe had some breakfast, coffee, then jump in there. You can save a lot of potions for yourself. Alliance War even more so. If you are playing Alliance War seriously, it's better if you are fully awake already, like ready to go with your day. And weekday evenings, try not to spend it in an arena. Try to spend it with your friends, family, hobbies, do whatever else. Spend your energy, sure, do a lane in Act 6, you can spend half an hour, but do not make it a habit of grinding it an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours every evening. I don't think that's a recipe for long-term enjoyment of the game. And again, I might be wrong. And lastly, the biggest thing is, save all of your major progression-based content, the Abyss, the Act 6, the Act 7, the variants, whatever, to weekends or days when you have solid chunks amount of time and you have had time to physically rest from your daily routine, from your daily duties. Because believe you me, even if you don't think so, you are a better player than you think you are if you are playing on Saturday opposed to Tuesday night. But yeah, I think that about cuts it, and hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. And if you have, then I'm gonna catch you guys soon. So yeah. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about